Good morning, Chris. How are you, buddy?
Morning, Chris.
Good, guys. How are y'all?
Good.
We're good. Chris, Alabama, this year, they've had a hard time putting together two halves. When they have a big lead at the half, you can't relax. If they're down a lot at the half, you can't relax because they'll usually put together something. That's got to be frustrating maybe to Coach Johnson and the coaching staff. They just seem to have a hard time. I think they scored 18 points in the second half after scoring 30-something in the first half. They've just had a hard time putting two halves together this season, hadn't they?
Well, they have. And in terms of the frustration, you asked me how frustrating. Look, I'm just, I'm a broadcaster who's got a fan's heart to it, and I try to do my job to share the message of exactly what's going on. But I was an Alabama fan long before they started signing checks. So, there's an emotional level that is tied to it somewhat. I've got to ask you all, though, because when you put the time in as coaches, you can answer the thing about Avery better than I can. When you put the time in, you actually get the plays executed to the point that you want them to, where you've got an open look. And time after time, either you don't make the shot or you make the wrong pass at the last moment. How do you keep from pulling your hair out?
Dad?
Well, I pull mine out at times. I don't know. You try to figure out, if you've got the right players playing at the right positions, guarding the right people or shooting the right shots and substitute. And if you'll notice Vanderbilt, they will get their three coaches huddled up with him, and before he ever talks to the squad, he talks to them, and they try to decide exactly what they need to do to correct what they're doing wrong, right, or to add something to what they've been doing right.
Yeah,
hard. It's not easy. I don't know.
I don't know, Chris. It looks like they got a team full of role players.
I really agree with you on that. And look, these are guys that, especially the ones that are coming back, are going to have big roles. But I think the lack of having a true go-to guy right now, a guy who's just who truly wants the ball in his hands late and can do something with it. There's a lot of unselfishness, which is a great thing, but there are times where I almost feel like you see too many passes. I almost would rather have a guy, and please correct me if I'm wrong because you know a whole lot more about this than I do, but I'd almost rather have a guy who is, by golly, like Retno Basahan last year. Wasn't the most skilled guy, but was hell-bent on getting to the rim and getting a bucket or drawing a foul so he could get to the free throw line. And I didn't consider Retton to be a selfish person at all, but there have been so many times, and especially Saturday, you had guys that had layups or looks from close in or open threes in that second half after the confidence of the first half had gone away, and they're making a pass because it almost looks like they're afraid to take the shot. And I'm not talking about forcing something. I'm not talking about taking something that you're incapable of making or something that's not part of your game. But I don't think it's going to be an issue next year having somebody who wants the ball in the key moments. I think that's an issue right now. And when you're this many games, 29 games, 30 games into it now, whatever it is, you are who you are. And if you ain't been that before, it's tough to be that now. Don't get me wrong. I am thrilled that every guy that is scheduled to come back next year will, because I think that the roles they're going to play will be vitally important to this team being in a great spot 12 months from now. That being said, there are some major pieces that need to be added, and thank goodness those pieces have been identified, signed, and are scheduled to be on campus this summer.
Yeah, I think you recruit what you need, and they need swagger and mindset, and I think they recruited that with Colin Sexton. I saw John Petty play last week. He has that. And so I think it's hard to sometimes instill in kids. Riley Norris, God bless him, he's a good, solid player. He's a role player. He shouldn't be asked to score 20-something a night. He's probably not going to do that. I think Braxton Key is a great piece to build around. Dazon Ingram is. So these guys can all play at this level, and hopefully these other guys will bring a swagger and a mindset. But it's it's going to be tough for freshmen to do that.
It is.
But I think they have it. I do think they have it, and they have something that Alabama doesn't have right now.
Right, and I do think, too, because we've heard so much about Braxton, we've heard so much about Dazon, what I'm talking about as fans and media, forget the fact that they are freshmen. Now, look, by the time they get to this year, they are very experienced, so they're basically sophomores, and I get that. But I'm talking about in terms of the playing experience and confidence that can come with that. I think these guys will be so good next year. The ones we just talked about, Riley Norris, Braxton Key, Dazon Ingram, I think they will flourish next year because they can truly be who they are and not have to be something more. And I think that's going to help them tremendously. And that's why I think this team next season has a chance to be really, really special.
Yeah, hopefully that.
Are y'all driving? Are they driving up or flying up?
Don't know, Coach. I'm going on my own. I'll be heading up there tomorrow night. Got something to do Wednesday morning early in Nashville, and be up there to watch. Go see the practice session that they'll do on Wednesday, middle of the day, and then the first games of the tournament that night. But I don't know. I would assume. I'm not going to assume. They may bus or fly. I really don't know which it'll be.
Do you sense, Dad and I were talking about, they don't know who they're going to play, so it's kind of hard to this week practicing, to prepare for a particular opponent. They beat these two teams both twice. They beat Mississippi State twice, beat LSU twice, but sometimes a team's played one game and you're sitting there waiting. But Alabama, they probably just going to work on Alabama this week, don't you think? And then maybe start kind of gearing their game plan after the game because they're pretty familiar with these teams already, aren't they, Chris?
They know them both, and it's not like the old days where you have to wonder where you're going to track down film. I mean, every game is available to you. You've got everything from a scout and personnel standpoint, I would think, that you could possibly need by this point. They'll certainly watch the game and see if there's anything new that maybe has transpired with either side since they last saw them face to face. But just like I said a moment ago, that you are who you are by this time of the year. That holds not only for Alabama, it holds for LSU and Mississippi State as well. Look, I would much rather face LSU than Mississippi State. I think they're really dangerous. I think they've got some really good weapons and a really young team that can hurt you. You wonder how much is left in the tank for LSU. They did get that win to stop the 15-game losing streak when they beat Tennessee a week ago. But, I think coming out and starting fast, regardless of who you're playing, is going to be a key for Alabama because that's been important. I think this game Saturday against Tennessee was the first one I can remember in a while where Alabama was really, really good early and wasn't able to finish things off with a win. I know South Carolina was one where you had a great start. You're up 32-16 at the half, and it took you 4 overtimes to get it done, but I think that was a different circumstance. They still won that game. It's just been rare, I think, that Alabama's had a great start, been really good early, and not been able to walk out of the gym with a pretty good feeling about the outcome. And Saturday was definitely not a good finish, not a good day. And you hope they can turn the page and go back and do those things in the first that they did in the first 20 minutes in Knoxville and continue those for a little bit longer, so it'd be enough to get a first game win on Thursday.
Yeah,
What about baseball? I know they struggled some, but came back and won a few. I know you hadn't seen play. Talk to a little bit about that.
Yeah, I saw him yesterday, Coach. I got back and did the Sunday game in the series and talked with Coach Goff afterwards, and he was in a really good mood. They had dropped, I think, 4 in a row, going back to getting swept last weekend and then losing a tough one on a Tuesday or Wednesday night to Jacksonville State. But then they responded really well. They were down 3-0, 3-1 early on Friday night to Louisiana Monroe, and they got an incredible effort out of the bullpen from Brock Love, freshman. Faced 13 batters, struck out 10 of them, didn't give up a hit. Don't think he allowed a base runner of the 13 that he faced, and kind of held things in check, and they got a walk-off win on a base hit from Hunter Alexander to win it 4-3 on Friday, and then Saturday only had to throw 2 guys, pitched well, and got some offense, had 2 big 3-run innings and won 6-2. And then yesterday got some balanced offense throughout the course of the game and won 10-3. And it wasn't, Louisiana Monroe's not a great opponent, but they're in a good baseball league in the Sun Belt. And I think it was the way they went about it. Right now it's, as you're trying to build this, or if you're Greg Goff, you're trying to build it your way and with your mentality for your team, you're trying to get, guys to buy in and do things your way. And you started to see more of that on Friday. Showed a lot of guts to come back and win that one the way they did, and hopefully build off of it. And they've scheduled to play tomorrow against Troy. I don't know if the weather's going to let that happen or not, but from there, they got a 4-game series this week against Arkansas Pine Bluff. They'll go, it's kind of rare, but they'll play Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday against Pine Bluff. And then the next week, maybe 2 more midweek games, and then you start conference play the following weekend against Missouri. So they're trying to get some things sorted out, figure out who they are before that gauntlet of the SEC gets started a week and a half from now.
They're playing a lot of home games, aren't they, Chris? They don't.
Yeah, he does. 21. They're playing 21 straight to start things off, and look, there's 2 reasons behind that. You got a great ballpark now. You got a great place to play your games, and I think as you're trying to figure out who you are, and knowing that there's going to be a lot of question marks, not having to add the challenge of going on the road with a team was something that he thought was important to stay close to home and let's build this and kind of circle wagons out of the gate. And then you go, you're going to go on the road and play your usual in-state rivals. They'll play in Birmingham against UAB. They'll go to Troy. But I don't think he's playing a non-conference game out of state. And it's going to be a while still before they play that. So hoping to build some confidence for a new group with a lot of young players before they have to start conference action.
Yeah, I was wondering if Dad put that schedule together. He didn't like to go on the road either.
Because we all know, Coach wasn't just going to play a dog. He was going to play a dead one if he could. There's a couple of them that have some bite in this one.
Yeah, I think Dad would try to get Louisiana Monroe to stay out for one more game, maybe one more series. Wouldn't you, Dad? You probably would like to play them again, wouldn't you? They won 3. Let's play them 3 more times, wouldn't you? You'd like
we might lock them in the ballpark and play them again.
If y'all want your meal, if y'all want your check, we got to play one more game.
Yeah, one more game. We'll give you a meal after the game. All right, Chris. Well, so you're heading up tomorrow. You're going to beat the team up there. Some of the teams there. It's always a bad sign. Now, you don't lose like Auburn. They could lose before a lot of teams get there. I remember that we did that one year. We had to play in that play-in game and we lost. And my buddies were just landing at the airport, getting ready to come over to their hotel, and I was headed back to Columbia. That's always a bad feeling. So, yeah. But you're going to beat all the teams in there anyway if you're getting up there tomorrow.
They'll beat me up there. I think I'm not going to get there till tomorrow night. I think they'll all actually come in tomorrow, except for maybe the top 4 seeds, and I've got a feeling they'll be there anyway. But they're going to. I think there's practice sessions on Wednesday morning, like I said, for all those teams that are going to play their first game on Thursday. So they'll go ahead and get in.
Well,
get ready for that.
You'll see a lot of blue up there this week, Chris.
You think so?
Yeah, they'll be there. They'll
be
there.
Just a little bit of it.
They'll be there. Well, all right, Chris,
I'll be there. I'll holler at you.
I'm looking forward to it. Y'all be careful,
right.
and appreciate you having me on.